And everyone, it's Tim Reazor with Revere Asset Management. Let's see, just to be after 3 o'clock here on a Thursday night. So very quickly, stock knows market levers. Before we begin, we're going to look at shorts, shorting areas, and we're going to look at the most bullish chart. Pretty much, I don't know about in the market, but one of them studying, and I think you really need to be aware of this. But before we do that, listen, these videos can serve as an anthology. For a lot of people, they serve as a way to take a look at what we're doing, test us out. But I think they help a lot of people based on the feedback. And look, last week, and we hit this today, and I heard some feedback on this today. This is where to short the market next. And we got absolutely to that zone today. I don't want to talk about it. And like last week, the week prior to that is where to short the market again and where to short the market again. And we're going to follow up with all of this in about 2 seconds. Before I do that, this video might be a little bit shorter than normal, and that's because we're doing the podcast tomorrow. And so the podcast I'm going to have, depending upon what happens with the jobs report tomorrow, I think we're probably going to go to +1 ATR or -1 TR in S&Ps, depending upon how the market absorbs the jobs report. And I think the podcast tomorrow is going to be fantastic for levels, where we're headed, and trade ideas both to the long and short side. And I hope you tune in for that. And if you don't subscribe, you can subscribe to it right here. You can get it on iTunes, Google Play Store. It's called Your Money, Revere Asset. And look, if you can't find it, you don't see it on our podcast page, all you do is call 855-732-5932, email me, tim@revereasset.com. And don't forget, look, you can talk to the guys making all the decisions in the portfolio, buys, sells, what's on their watch list, why they're taking action, why they're thinking what they're thinking. We make everyone and everything accessible to you. And that is a big, big deal. Very few shops, as a matter of fact, we might be the only one that we do this. And we do this at length for clients and non-clients alike. And then we make America's fiduciary right here, Danny Stewart, available to you, whether you're a client or not, because look, there are so many ways people get hosed in the markets, whether it's selling life insurance, as investment, the fees, the trailing fees. You've been paying, if you have an annuity, you've been paying that salesperson since you ever got that annuity. There's things that are hurting you investment-wise that we make you aware of, and we don't sell any of that stuff. All we do is what you see here in the videos. We execute for people on their behalf in the stock market, and we talk about strategy, all in a way to empower investors. And look, if you don't want to do any of that, you can always follow me here. Like, I'm at TJ Reazor. I interact with what I affectionately call the IPO Club. It's a group of like-minded traders and investors just like yourself. It's just a community of people that watch our videos, consume our content, and talk about it. And if you don't follow, if you don't if you don't like Twitter, don't like social media, listen, just you don't even have to follow me. You can just open a Twitter account. My DMs are open, and you can say, hey, Tim, I heard about this IPO Club, like-minded people that like to talk stocks and markets and strategy. Yeah, let you in the club. No velvet rope for you. Just be a nice person and be acceptable to having great conversation. That's all. Okay, so with that, stock knows market levels. These videos are for what? Your edification purposes only, never to be misconstrued advice. When advice by seeking advice, all you have to do is in fact give me a call. So speaking of IPO Club and the guys in the shop, so I sent this out around 1 or so, seeing the market before 1, seeing the market trying to pull back to 4,400, going, I wonder if it pulls back to the zone of the 21, like 43.85. And we kind of got down there, 43.85 today. And let me show you this on a daily chart, because this was the zone, right? This is what we talked about last week, you and I together. Hey, the next place you want to short, because it's really hard to read the tea leaves. Like, it could go lower, but it could just rip back up higher. And this is the zone. This is the 21. This is the area of the short. So you're not late. But the thing is, what's happening tomorrow? It's the jobs report. And look, with economic reports, I think they just accelerate what's already happening. And I think what's already happening here is we're in a downtrend. And it wouldn't surprise me if we go down to like 4,100 on the S&Ps. You can see that would be a pretty big move. Maybe 4,150. Give me a little swag there. That'd be a pretty significant move. And so doesn't mean it's happening tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's happening next week. I think maybe into November, that's where we eventually end up. Maybe on this daily third ATR, that's 41.71. That'll probably be a little bit lower if we start heading there. So 41.50, 4,100. Anyway, but you can see we kind of got we got everyone excited that we're going higher today. And then we pull right back into that zone of where that pink line on your chart, the 21. And I find that really interesting, because look at what the NASDAQ did today. Yeah, got rejected at the 21. And so those are the two most powerful indexes. But we'll look at the YMs here. The YMs rejected at the 50. That's your red line here. But above the 21, and what's strong here? the RTYs, the small caps. And why are the small caps strong? Well, look at crude oil, right? Bullish chart. You know the story with crude going higher. Big old shortage of energy materials across the globe right now. But that's news driven, right? It's a lot of news driven, but that's a bullish chart, okay? But then what else is going well? The drive. I mean, look at this RTY. This small caps. What else could be going well that you've got? You're above the you're above all the moving averages. I mean, not a pretty chart, but you're above all the moving averages. Well, look at the banks. KRE, look at the SKB, look at this XLF, and those look great. Well, Tim, why do they look great? TNX. And what I'm getting to right now was really the story. So look, there is a money tightening already taking place, and that is problematic for the stock market. Let's look at this. So you got rates going higher. Rates went up 3% today. And so you close what? At the high. This is the yield. So yields now have eclipsed the 927, 928 area. So here's 920. I have it on your chart here. Here's 928. Okay. So you're just like right in, close enough for government work, right? You're right there at that 928 level. Well, let's look at SPX on that daily chart. What took place at 920 on 928? Yeah, 927. 928, and you're like, Tim, why is the market selling off tomorrow? Today it's at a high. We should be into hell and damnation, the basement of the S&Ps, and it's because we have that jobs report tomorrow. So, and I don't want to pretend I know that if a great jobs report means higher rates and we sell off, is good news, or is bad news good news, meaning a bad jobs report, the Fed can wait. And so, look, that's for the market and pundency to interpret. You and I, we have bigger things to do, like look for levels and an actionable, devise together an actionable plan. And that's what separates us from everyone, the free world, China, and all those strip mall advisors, right? And so, look, SPX here is super interesting. I think you see where the trend is, and I don't know if the market rips higher tomorrow, and it could, and you need to acknowledge that is a move all the way up to 44.50, 44.60. You're going to catch them, right? But down one ATR, you're looking at 43.34, and then maybe a retest of lows next week, recent lows on next week, setting you up potentially, from a bounce from next week, a bounce from this level, and then that bounce might get sold and take you downtown a little bit longer to that third ATR. We'll see. We just take it one day at a time right now because this market hasn't been acting right. But that's just the TNX, my friends. It's really this chart. It's the most bullish chart, and the most bullish chart is absolutely positively problematic for the stock market. This is the dollar. This is a representation of tightening going on. Like we looked at the M2 money chart before, and the M2, once they turn the spigot on, the M2 goes, you can Google that M2 Fred, and you'll see it. And it correlates, like the market turns the Fed, Jay Powell and all his insider trading buddies, right? Boy, what a way to soil your name. Like those guys could have cured financial cancer. Those guys could have done anything great. And now what I know them for, and they should be ashamed and hang their heads in shame for what they did. But I digress. I could go on forever about the criminality of what they did. Now, the insider trading group, that is the Fed. They turn on the spigots in March, at the end of March 2020, and it's upward sloping, just violent up into the right with the money to supply, and it's violent up into the right with the S&Ps. Well, now this is the Fed saying we're gonna start tightening, and by tightening meaning we're going to pull back some of that bond buying that we're doing, still bond buying, but not as much. And then the dollar starts responding, and you get this consolidation here, right? And now you've got this consolidation here, bounce off the 8, bounce off the 8, bounce off the 8, bounce off the 8, right? And bounces off the 8 eventually take out those levels. But you got to look down to smaller time frames. So we'll just keep going. Let's see if we can find a real tight. Oh, that's a nice grouping right here on the 195-minute chart. Let's go down to a 78. Let's take a look there. Yep, that is what I call a bullish consolidation, my friends. And so, look, if this were to, on the jobs report tomorrow, take out recent highs, this market probably most likely sells off. Now, conversely, and acknowledge this, that if the dollar, and look, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's a market, anything can happen. If the dollar were to go lower tomorrow, look for TNX to head lower tomorrow, and look for growth stocks and the NASDAQ type stocks, growthy type names. Look for them to zoom, zoom, zoom and a boom, boom, boom higher. So look, instead of working out every scenario with you, I think you can simplify this tomorrow. Watch the indices, but if you want to know what's happening in the background, the dollar is going to drive a lot of this tomorrow, followed by TNX, and then you can take your cues from there. And of course, we'll have that podcast up mid-afternoon on Friday, and you can tune in there, and I'm telling you, it'll be a playbook for you for the weekend and heading into next week. So look, Stockers, Mark Lovers, you know I love you. So hopefully all of this has helped. Hopefully, look, if you want in on the club, just let me know. We'll get you in on the club. I have people asking me all the time about it, and it's just an extension of the work we do at Revere. That's it. And so with that, I hope you have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow on the podcast with the next update.